Welcome everyone to the open G tuned version of Can't You Hear Me Knockin'. Although I'm going to cover Mick Taylor with his standard tuning, rhythm, and his solo at the end, which is fantastic. It's got some licks I never thought of. Really cool how he does some of them. So we'll go over that. With that said, I have another version of this which I still stand by. It's in standard tuning if you just want to learn it without having to retune your guitar, which in the early days I didn't know enough about guitars, and anyhow I've since learned much more, and we're in open G for this. So the first or the sixth string I should say will be in D, second or fifth there I go with my old ways. Sixth string D, fifth string G, fourth string D. The third and second are the same, G and B, just like the fourth, D, G, B. And then we're back to D with our first string, just like the sixth. We're really not going to use the sixth string. You know, again, Keith usually just takes it off. He does some wonderful double stops in this song, a lot of feel with it. So I'm going to go over some of the intricacies that'll get you the timing correct. Of course, I've wrote out my notes, they'll be below the video, so we'll get into it next. So to start the song out, Keith does these double stops on the fourth and third string. He'll do a slide from 10 to 9 and then hit 7. And then 9 pulled off to 7. So it'll sound like this. Okay, again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we move up to the fifth and fourth string, and we're going to slide from 10 to 9, just like we did on the fourth and third, but this is on the fifth and fourth, and catch 7. And then we'll hit 7 again and to 9 on the fourth string. So it'll sound like this. Alright, so let me do that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so let's do both of the intro licks here together. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the timing, you can see, feels a little bit better when you add that first lick. Okay, timing is everything with this, and Keith is really the timing of the Stones. So once we get to that, we're going to do 2 quick hits again on 7, then 1 more hit. Then we'll hit 9 again on the fourth string, keeping the fifth string at 7, back to 7 on the fifth and fourth, so it'll sound like this. And then we go to 10 on the fourth string, okay, and then we just hit the fifth string at 7. Okay, that sounds odd, but it helps you with the timing, just hitting that one string. Alright, so this whole second half of the lick up to this point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to hit 7 twice again, 9, back to 7 from the fourth string. Okay, so when you put all of this together, again, the timing will all come together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the first measure of the intro. So you'll see this intro is really based all around these little double stops. So the second measure will start with a stab on the fourth and third string at 10 to just the seventh string or seventh fret of the fifth string. Then we're going to pull off from 9 to 7 on the 4th and 3rd string. Then we'll do our usual run here from like the second half of the first measure. Alright, so we have this so far. Okay. Now what we do for the next half is basically we're going to slide from 10 to 9 and then hit 7 on the 4th and 3rd and then 5th and 4th. So you can see how he's just, again, between these two notes. Then again, we're going to, once we get there to the 7th fret, really you just want to hit the 7th string. And then up pick, because this is pretty much back and forth picking. So we got, we're going to upstroke that other 7, which gives it the full chord sound. And then we do 7, 9, 7. Okay, so altogether the second measure starting out the stab at 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we got the first 2 measures of the intro. 2 more to go. Alright, next measure is going to take the 4th and 3rd string at 9, bend them up and release together. Then we're going to hit 7, 9, and 7 twice. Then we'll come to 9 and 7 on the 5th and 4th. And he slides off at that point, but it's really not a big deal if you don't. So to this point, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we come back with the 7, then we're going to add the 9 on the 4th string. I should say 7 on the 5th and 4th. We're going to add 9, pull it off back to 7, add 10, back to 7, and then to 9. Now we're going to hit 7 just on the 5th string, and then 7 on the 5th and 4th. Twice to 9 and then 7. Okay, so that second half will sound like this. So you can hear how that little 7 just adds with the timing. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so let's do the whole 3rd measure of the intro together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, at this point, from this 9th position, where we've been doing this, I want you to switch to the 7th position. Because the rest of the lick, although similar, will go back to the 5th fret from here to play the rest. So it's easier if you shift positions from keeping your first finger there to using your 3rd finger and your 1st at 5. Okay, we'll go over that next. Okay, so you're in the 5th position with your 1st finger. This is so cool how he times this out using just the 5th string at 7. We're going to hit 7 on the 5th string, and then 7 on both the 4th and 3rd, once and then 3 times. So it'll sound like this. Back to 7 only on the 5th string. And then we go to 5 on the 5th and 4th. Okay, so listen to it in context. So you can hear how just that single note leads you along on the 7. Alright, at that point, we're using our 1st finger on the 5, go ahead and bar across, and then we're going to put our pinky and ring finger down on the 1st and 2nd string at the 7th fret. We hit that 3 times, then pick it up and hit 5. Then we're going to just use our ring finger down on 7 on the 2nd string, still hitting the 1st string. Back to 5. So we got 3 7s, a 5 and 7, back to 5. We'll start the verse coming up next, and the first 2 times in the verse, he's actually using the 3rd and 2nd string. So on the 2nd half of it, so you'd be like. So you'd be hitting the 3rd string. But for the most part of this song, he's just using the first 2 strings with the 5 and 7. Okay, so where are we? Okay, so that leads into the verse right there. And at that point, Mick Taylor comes in with a C. Okay, so Mick Taylor's playing a C, and then the verse singing comes in with a D. And we come in with the 7th fret. So I hit the 5th fret, of course. So we come in with the 7th fret. And that's referencing the D chord of the structure of the song. Basically G, C, D. Okay, so we'll stick to this. We'll get to the verse next, and I'll explain how it's pretty much consistent throughout the song. So for the verse, it's basically going to be between 5, 7, and our double notes here. Okay, and we'll do an open style lick that Keith does because they go to G. Okay, so the first measure of the verse. All right, we're going to come out of the. Okay, it's quiet. You'll hear Mick Taylor come in with the C, but Keith doesn't. Keith is panned hard left. If you listen to Keith, he just holds out, and then he comes in on the D. Okay, so he'll come in on the D with 2 hits, and then he comes in with the double stops on the 4th and 3rd to the 5th and 4th. So it's basically our slide from 10 to 9 and then hitting 7. Okay, at that point when we slide back to, or hit 7, we come to 5. And this is the point where we put the 3rd string on also at 7. Okay, it's only during this first verse and the first 2 measures that they do this type of lick that he's adding the 3rd string. So we got this. Okay, when he comes back off of that, you're going to hear the 5. So he's going to hit the 5th root and then the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd string twice. And then to an open. The open can be the 5th, 4th, and 3rd. You don't want it to get too muddy because we're just going to a G. And then you'll hear this like. Okay, I want to talk about that lick because that's a little controversial too. Alright, so we got the open G on the 4th, 3rd, and 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. Now we're going to slide from 2 to 4 on the 5th string. And then we're going to catch open 4th and 3rd string. Then we're going to go to the 5th fret of the 4th string to the 3rd fret. Alright, so far we have this. Then we go to open, and I say we go back to 5, and then at the 5th string, back to open. Alright, a lot of people show you it 5, remember, we're tuned different here. So this is going from a C to a D, and again from a C to a D, because this string is tuned down, okay? So the reason I feel, again, however you want to do it, people like this because they can add vibrato to that D note. This is Keith Richards. He loves to hit open strings. So what I try to do when I do my lessons is put my head in the artist. And okay, what would I do here? Okay, so I feel he's playing the open D, but if you want to play this C to D rather than, it's your option. So, you know, that's what music's about. It's your option. So again, 2 to 4 on the 5th string. And then we're going to hit the open 3rd, open 4th, open 3rd. Catch the 5th fret of the 4th string. Alright. Then we go to the 3rd fret of the 4th string to open to the 5th fret of the 5th string, back to the open 4th. Okay. Keith uses this lick in a lot of things. Brown Sugar. Anyhow, you might recognize it from a few songs. So that's how I play it. That's how I tapped it out. After that, we're going to come back to 5. And we'll use the 3rd string. Again, this will be the last time I feel he uses that, listening to the song. Alright, and then we're going to hit 5 again, and then hit 5 on the 4th and 3rd, primarily slide up to 7. Alright, at that point, you'll hear him do basically a stab at 10 twice, back to 7 on the 5th string. Alright, and then we'll do our 10, slide to 9, and hit 7 on both the 5th and 4th dyads. Alright, so let's take it from the open G and come in with the lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so at that point we're going to hit 7 again. More of the full chord. Okay, and what we're going to do is come back to 5 and just use the 1st and 2nd string. Alright, now we're going to hit 5 3 times. Once with the just root note of the 5th string, and then twice on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. And then to open G. And this time we're not going to play a lick, but you can hear Keith just hit the 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. So it'll sound like this. Alright, and then to end the actual verse and start the chorus, it comes right in with, alright, and then Can't You Hear Me Knocking comes in. So, alright, so the chorus, very similar to what we've been doing so far. We'll start it out on 5 with our 1st and 2nd string, get you in the Hear Me Knocking. Alright, now we're going to hit the root, and then the 4th, 3rd string, and then slide up, again hitting 5 to 7. And then what he does is hit the root note 7 and a stab at 10 on the 4th and 3rd, back to the root note 7 and 2 stabs at 10. Then we pull off from 9 to 7, on the 4th and 3rd, and we're going to add the 5th string for the 7, 5, 4, 3. All right, so that first measure of the chorus will sound like this. Then we're back. Second measure will start out just like the first. Now we're going to hit the 5 root note, 2, 4, and 3s of the 5th fret, and then an open G on the 5th, 4th, and 3rd, and then our lick. Back to the 5, to the 7, with, again, this is the 3rd measure, okay? Alright, now we're going to hit 5, 7, and then 10 twice, just on the 4th and 3rd string. Then we're going to slide from 10, 9, and then 7 on that 4th and 3rd. Alright, and then we'll move it to the 5 and 4. Alright, so, and hit 7. So we have this so far. Hang with me, because this is probably the most complicated one. Then we go to 10, a stab on the 4th and 3rd, and a stab on the 5th and 4th at the 7. Alright, then you're into the last measure, which will take us into the bridge. So this is the 3rd measure of the chorus. Again, slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we're to the 5, hitting our 7. Just this is the 4th measure, just like it begins. Alright, now what we're going to do is hit the root note at 5, and then the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd, and we're into the bridge. Alright, so we'll go over that next. This bridge, there's basically 3 chords to it. Alright, there's going to be our G that we'll actually do for measures 1 and 4. Measure 2 will be an F. This is the new chord. So it's like playing a, let's see, what would that be? D minor 7. So we're going to bar across the 5th through the 1st string, add our 2nd finger on the 2nd string, and our ring finger on the 4th string. So we're playing an F here. There would be our root note. Alright. Then we go back just to 5. Okay, which would be our D. So we have G, F, D, G. And then G again, F, D, and then G, and around and round. Alright, so that's basically the chorus. The difference is when you do one measure of the chorus, between it you'll hear Keith add either the lick or playing the open strings. So we do now we just hit the G once, then we're going to go into the lick. We just stop at 5 during the chorus, okay? Then we're into the next half of the measure. So 2 G's, 2 F's, 2 D's, 1 G, and then you'll hear them just go pick out the 5th, 4th, 3rd, back to the 4th string. And then a G again to start the next round. Okay, and then we go to our F twice, G, D twice, and G, and then it ends with. So that's how the first bridge goes. I'll take you through it slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that first bridge is really kind of shortened. And then you're back into the chorus. So after that second chorus, we're into the bridge number 2. Bridge number 2 is a bit different. Keith hangs on an F note when everybody else just goes with him. He's playing an F note versus an F chord. So I want to show you that because it's just different. Some people think he makes a mistake. I don't think so. I think he just hung on this F note versus the F chord. And then you're back into the rest of the bridge rhythm with the D back to G, and then G, F, D, G. Okay, so the second bridge is going to start out with our G chord. We're going to do the lick, hang on the 5 for another hit, and then hit the 3rd fret of that 4th string. It'll sound like this. That is our F. That's where the rest of the band kind of goes to an F chord other than the guitar. Okay, your bass, your keyboards. Keith is doing. But Keith is doing. Okay, so after our F comes D. And G. So the G is like a down, up, down. Okay, so second bridge, first measure will start out like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stick on the G to an F chord, back to D, to G once, and then you'll hear the lick, but he's also going to hit the open G note on the 5th string. It's leading us into the next G chord of the bridge. There's a lick there. So I'm going to take you from the very beginning of the second bridge. We'll do it slowly so you can see how it all fits together. 1, 2, 3, 4. At that point, you'll hear this like. Alright, so basically he's sliding on the 1st string from 5 to 3 and pulling off to open. Then at the 3rd fret of the 3rd string, we're going to do a bend and release and pull off to open. And we'll do the same thing on the 4th string. Okay, and then we continue with the G. Okay, that just takes up one little part of the G. Now we just do the 5th, 4th, 3rd, back to 4th open. Now the normal lick. that point you'll hear this like. Alright, so basically he's sliding on the first string from 5 to 3 and pulling off to open. Then at the 3rd fret of the 3rd string we're going to do a bend and release and pull off to open, and we'll do the same thing on the 4th string. Okay, and then we continue with the G. Okay, that just takes up one little part of the G. Now we just do the 5th, 4th, 3rd, back to 4th open. Now the normal lick. Strings. And the lick. Okay, so the final part that Keith does after the 2nd bridge is the outro. Okay, so he starts it just before the sax solo. So we're going to be on the 4th string at 9, the 5th string at 10, and slide that up a half step. Alright, then we're going to take the, move that whole thing down 1 string, so we'll be on the 3rd and 4th. And we're going to take it from 10 and 11 up to 11 and 12. Alright, so we have this. So they're just slides. Alright, at that point, what you want to do is hit the 4th and 3rd string back to the 5th string at 12. So it's kind of a back and forth. And then we're going to do the first 2 notes again. So we have this all together. Again. Okay, so that is Keith's part at the end. Now, after that, you start going in the sax solo. All he's going to be playing is between 12 and 10. And you'll hear Mick Taylor doing some other things we'll talk about, some other chords to cover that. But then he'll go into more of a staccato piece. He's kind of out of it as they're into the solo part. So I've got that written out for you. We're going to go over Mick Taylor's piece next. I really hope this helps everybody up to this point with the open G. Just a freaking fantastic song. One of my favorite Stones songs. But, you know, everyone is a favorite. So we'll go over Mick Taylor's part next. So Mick Taylor comes in just before the singing starts in the verse. Okay, he comes in with the C, and they're really kind of stabs. C to D, and back to C, and then finally G. Occasionally he'll walk down. But it's kind of rare that he does that. He'll just add that in for a little flavor. And then when you do the chorus is G to F, back to C, another measure of G, and then we start again with G. So that's Mick's rhythm really throughout the song. During the sax solo, he's going to be playing basically this triad at the, again, we're in standard tuning here. So we're on the 5th fret, the 1st string, 6th fret of the 2nd string, 7th fret of the 3rd. We're going to add our pinky down. And then we'll just move that triad without the pinky up to 7 through 9. Then as the sax kind of comes to an end of the solo, he starts taking the 7th off and then adding it also on the again, I've written this out so you'll see it there. This is just after the sax solo when he starts adding that 9th to the chord, and that's pretty much his rhythm until we start the actual solo. Okay, these licks really aren't hard, but again, it's the feel. So we're going to start out here, 12th fret with the 1st string. I'm going to use the 13th fret on the 2nd string, just for reference here. It'll start out like this. So again, we're going with feel here. So he's going to hit the 13th fret of the 2nd string, hammer into 15. Then he's going to hit 15 back to 13, catching 14 on the 3rd. Back to 13 on the 2nd with some vibrato. Then we're going to hit 13 to 15 with hammered on again on the 2nd string. Then we're going to move to the 1st string, 12 to 15 pulled off to 12. That 12 has some vibrato, and then he hits it 4 more times. There's quite a pause before the next lick comes in. So you'll get the feel for it when you play with it. Okay, so this next measure, the second half, is one of the coolest licks. Again, I'm copying this, and it takes a little bit of practice to get it down. But to start out with, we're going to do a pre-bend on 12, and it'll sound like this. So we're doing that pre-bend on 12 on the 3rd string with a release and pull off to 10 and some vibrato. It's real slow. Then what we're going to do is take 12 on that 3rd string with a bend and release and pull off to 10, hitting 12 on 4th string, back to 10 on the 3rd string with vibrato. Now, this lick is real tricky because he bends the 12th fret of the 3rd string up, keeps that bent, but you don't hear it anymore. Then he hits 13 on the 2nd string unbent and 10 twice on the 1st string. Then you hit 13 to 12, it's still bent, so we have this. And you don't want them to let them ring together like that. It'll sound funny. So it's real kind of deadening the strings as you hit them. Then you're going to hit 10, 13 again. 12 with a release and pull off to 10. So it'll sound like this with the 10, 13 and pull off. Alright, so all together that really cool lick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to hit 12 on the 4th string again, back to 10 on the 3rd. Then we slide in 10 to 13. Then we're going to start this lick, which will be done 8 times. So it's 2 strikes on the 1st string at 10 to 13 on the 2nd string. Alright, so point is we're going to hit 10 on the 1st string twice, 13 once, and we'll do those 3 notes a total of 8 times. Alright, and then what we're going to do is go to the 1st string, bend 13 up as we strike it, then hit 13 unbent to 10. Then 13 to 10 on the 2nd string. Then we're going to take our 12 with a bend and release and pull off to 10, catching 12 on the 4th string back to 10. Alright, so we have this at the end of that lick, the 8 times. Okay, so again, I've written this out. You can follow along. Next, he's going to come in on the 2nd string, sliding up to the 10th fret, catching the 10th fret of the 1st string to 13. That will be the 10, 13 twice, will be 8 times. Okay, so we've got another set of notes that again, I've read where a lot of people said this solo reminds them of Santana, and it does. I mean, he's kind of in the middle position here with a little bit more bass, but he's using these licks. Again, 8 times of that, okay? And then the next part, so I'll take it from the last couple of this and then go into the next part of the lead. Alright, so he's, again, a little bit different, but he's adding spice to this. So we're going to go 10 to 13 unbent, then hit 13 bent on that 1st string. Then 13 to 10 unbent to 13 on the 2nd string. Then we're going to catch the 1st string at 13 bent. Then we're going to hit unbent 13 to 10 on the 1st and 2nd string. Then when we hit 12 on the 3rd, we're going to slide to 10. So let's take it from that whole 2nd measure. I'm going to go from the 10 sliding up on the 2nd string, 8 of the 10 to 13s, and so forth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there we have the 2nd measure of the lead. Okay, so the next little half measure before we jump up to another position will sound like this. Alright, so basically we're sliding again in the 2nd string at 10, hitting 13 3 times with some vibrato. Then we're going to take off from 13 on the 2nd string to 10 on the 1st, to 13 with a bend, and then 10 unbent. And then 13 twice. Alright, so all together we have this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now now he changes positions. He's going to move up to the 17th position. Alright, so what we're doing is we're hammering on the 3rd string, 17 to 19, catch 18 on the 2nd string to 20, bend up, hold that bend, catch 20 underneath it, hit 20 the 2nd string and release the bend. Then we're going to hit 18 on the 2nd string to 19 on the 3rd. Then we're going to catch 17 on the 1st string, and then 18, 20, back to 18 on the 2nd string. At this point, I've seen tabs go way up and bend, but it doesn't make sense to me. We're here in this position, so I believe the A note is here on that 17. Okay, so that is the next measure. At the 10th position, this is the next lick you'll hear. They'll do that 10, 13, 10, 9 times. I'm not going to do all of that. But what we're doing to start it out is hitting the 10th fret of the 2nd string, hammering on to 13, catching 10 on the 1st string to 13 bent up. 13 unbent to 10. Then we start the 9 times. It'll be 10, 13, 2nd string to 10 on the 1st string. I think they kind of lose count there. He does it 9 times, I counted. Then we do this. So we've done 9 times, then we catch 10 on the 2nd string to our 12th fret of the 3rd string with the bend, release, and pull off to 10, catching 12 on the 4th, back to 10 on the 3rd. Alright, now he does that real similar lick where we're bending up 12 on the 3rd string, catching 13, 10, but back to 13. This is the last measure. This leads into the... Alright, so what we're doing, bending up 12, holding it, we're going to hit 13 on the 2nd, 10 on the 1st string, back to 13. Hit 13 or 12 back, released, and pulled off to 10. Back to the 4th string at 12, 3rd string at 10, and end on 12 on the... And then we're into the outro lick, okay? So, again, I've written this out, and it's kind of weird to write out that, but following the video and the notes, I think it'll really help you. We'll go through the outro, which is really cool, and the last lick especially. Okay, so from coming out of that last lick, we're going to go into 10, 11, and 12 on the 4th string to 10 on the 3rd string, back to 12. We'll do that a total of 11 times. Again, I think they're trying, you know, it's just a little off. They're going with the feel. And that 10 has a little vibrato to it. So you're going to do that 11 times, I counted. And then we're going to go to this. Alright, this will be 8 times. So we're doing the 10, 11, 12 on the 4th string. Then we're going to play 4th, 3rd, and 2nd from 12 to 10. Alright? Alright, that is 8 times. Now, after the 8th time, it just sticks on 10. So the first half is the same. just hitting 10 twice. Okay, that is 8 times. Now we move back to the last measure we just did from 12 to 10. That's 8 times. Okay, so we start out with that lick. And we're going to slide into the 10th fret of the 6th string. Then go to 9 on the 5th string, back to 10 on the 6th, 10 on the 5th, 10 on the 6th. So he's going to alternate. Here. And then we catch 12 on the 5th string, and then hit it again. And then we're going to hit 10 on the 4th string to 12 back on the 5th string. Then 10 to 12 on the 3rd string. I think I got confused, but it'll sound like this. All right, 3 times a bit. To end the song, the very last measure, all he does after hitting 12 twice on the 5th string, we're going to go 10 to 12 on the 4th string. And that's the end of the song. So again, I've written this out. I really hope this helps everybody. Just a really great song, and again, one of my personal favorite Stone songs, and it was a pleasure to learn and always share, so enjoy.